Rabbanit Shira.
Shalom, Rabbanit Hamutal.
So what's the worst cup of coffee you've ever had?
So once I was in South Africa in a beautiful place called Port Elizabeth. I don't know if you've been. It's one of the most beautiful places on earth, I think. And I was sitting there with the shlicha from Chabad. She was hosting me. I was giving a shiur, and she made me coffee, and we started talking. And I was talking to her about what it's like to be the only family in the area that is Jewish, and her kids and the schools. And then I've asked her, where do you go to the supermarket? Like, where do you buy kosher foods? And she said, we try to do as much as we can at home. And then she said, for example, the milk that you're drinking in your coffee right now, it's from the cow that is outside. And I held myself not to spit the coffee as we were talking, because she
very fresh.
It was hot coffee. I couldn't bear the thought. And she said, and she took me outside, and I saw the cow, and she's milking the cow with her kids every day. Because Chabad and their family, especially, they're makpidim on Chalav Yisrael, meaning they're drinking only milk that is being produced by an Israeli, or that an Israeli has seen that it's being milked by them. Yeah. So that was a coffee that I don't want to repeat. But then it's a very interesting question.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of different things. We have chalav, we have milk, we have cheese, and we have butter.
Right.
And it's three different criteria, three different categories, and they have different halachot. So let's try and talk about that today. Favorite products.
Second chapter of Masechet Avodah Zarah, Daf Lamed Hey, speaks about things that you're not allowed to consume because they were made by non-Jews. Elu dvarim shel goyim asurim ve'en isura misura na'ah. You just can't have them, and it's not about if you're enjoying them or not. Chalav shechalavo goy ve'en Yisrael ro'eu ve'hapat ve'ashemen. So we're not going to speak about the bread or the oil, but we're going to say that there might be a problem when a non-Jew is milking the cow and you can't see it. Two different issues might come up. The one in our Gemara is saying that he might mix it with a not kosher animal's milk. Meaning, maybe he has a cow and a donkey or something else, and it produces milk, and he just mixes it up because he wants to produce more milk.
So he's selling milk that he's producing in his farm, and he's milking the cow, then the donkey, then the pig, then whatever, and he's selling all of that milk together.
And you don't know if it's kosher.
And the Israeli doesn't know.
Exactly. So that's very, very easy to understand. The Gemara in Yerushalmi is saying something different. It's saying something totally different. It's not about the kosherness of the milk, but he's saying that when the non-Jew is milking the cow, he's not supervising the milk. So he might put it in a big jar, and it's going to stay out all night, and a snake might come and spit his poison into the milk. It's a known issue in the Gemara, and it's just dangerous.
So it's like pikuach nefesh. You're worried from the poison of the snake, and because they're not aware of it, an Israeli would make sure that it's always covered, that the jar of the milk is always covered, and a non-Jew won't notice it, and he might leave it open, and then it can cause like a problem.
Exactly, and the Gemara in the Yerushalmi, it's nice wording. It says mishum gilui. It's open. It's out there, it's dangerous, you can't consume the milk, not because of kosher issues, but because we just are more cautious about our milk, and they're not. Okay. So this is what the Yerushalmi is saying, and this is what the Babli is saying, and what do we do?
So I think the bigger question that we have here, what we call meta halacha, the bigger question that we have here is what is happening when Chazal is describing us reasoning to forbid something. But we know that the reasoning today, it's not relevant.
It doesn't
apply.
For example,
anymore. It doesn't apply the reasoning that the Gemara is writing. So for example, if by law, the state has to declare what are the ingredients. So if it's 100% milk that made by cows, it will say 100% cow milk. And if it's donkey milk, by law, you have to write donkey milk or pig milk or whatever kind of milk it is.
So this addresses the first problem. Meaning, according to Western law and Western civilization, you're not going to drink a different kind of milk. Because
unless it's specifically specified.
Exactly.
And then you can choose not to have it.
Exactly. But if you go to the supermarket and there's a nice cartoon of a cow on the milk, it's going to be cow's milk. So that's one issue addressed.
And we're also saying only in Western countries, because not necessarily in all countries they have that law that they have to be completely honest about what's in their food and the ingredients, and so only in countries that the rules abide and then everyone follows them.
And also the problem with the snake, everything is very supervised, everything is very clean, nothing is left open, because we're afraid of things going bad and not because of snakes. So these two reasonings don't really apply today.
Today, most of the milk farms, everything is robotic.
Yeah.
Everything is, there's
Computerized.
Computerized,
Yeah.
it's not made by man. We don't have the people that are going to the cow and milking.
Only the Chabad.
Probably only in Chabad.
South Africa.
So this whole issue is be'emet, it's a non-issue. So then we'll ask ourselves, halachically, when we have the gzerot, the reasoning for the gzerot, that they don't exist anymore, they're not relevant anymore, do we still follow the rule? Do we still follow the takana? Or are we saying the takana is not relevant because the gzerot, everything has changed? So that's the meta-ilchati kind of question.
So some of the poskim are saying, if this is what the Mishnah is saying, this is how we go about, and the only solution for this is to see the milking process. So you can do it by watching it through a screen. You don't have to physically be there. I know this is what some of the Chabad people do. They just watch the milking the whole time. That's one way to solve this problem. Another way is Rav Feinstein's idea. Rav Feinstein said that you can just rely on the law, on the government, and all the health departments that are supervising the milk, and you can drink milk even if it's not Chalav Yisrael. So that's the second solution.
But I think also that Rav Feinstein is allowing it because to his understanding from when he reads the Gemara, it's not a takana that Chazal set.
Yeah.
Meaning it's something
they
that
gave reasoning.
They're giving us reasoning, or they're saying, beware, be careful, this is what you should notice regarding to milk, but they're not saying gzera, you're not allowed to have chalav nochri.
Right.
And that's why Rav Feinstein is allowing it, because it's not saying there's a gzera, and then, because the minute that you have a gzera, the minute that you have a takana, how do you say takana in English? I don't know. The minute that you have like an instruction, that it's obvious instruction, halachic instruction, it doesn't really matter the reasoning and you can't change it. But Rav Feinstein is saying, it's never been a takana. And that's why if the reasoning doesn't exist, you can do it.
So let's move on to butter.
Butter. We love butter.
Which is easier than cheese.
Nachon. Butter is very easy because you're not adding on anything to butter. There's no extra ingredient that you put in the butter. And also the only milk that you can make butter of is cow.
Yeah.
You can't make butter out of donkey milk. I don't know why. I'm not a chemist.
Yeah.
If you can explain to us in the comments, go for it. But you can only make butter from milk that was milked from a cow. And therefore...
Right, and the Shulchan Aruch writes explicitly about chema, right?
Gemara talks about chema, Shulchan Aruch writes about chemra. Everyone is saying butter, it's a different issue. So let's talk about Shulchan Aruch.
So let's start with the chema, and then we'll move on to the gvina.
כן, so in קוף יורה דעה קוף ט"ו, חמאה של אקום אין מוכרים לאנשי המקום שנוהגים בו היתר. You don't tell people that it's not allowed if they're already eating the butter that is made by non-Jews.
So the Shulchan Aruch acknowledges that people eat
כן.
butter that they bought out of the supermarket.
כן, because butter is something that you don't add...
anything to except for salt.
כן, and the Rama is saying, מותר לכתחילה, לבשלה לכתחילה. So you can cook with it, you can use it, you can eat it, because it's a different matter.
So let's get to the final matter, which is cheese. And the Gemara is saying that the problem with cheese is that they used to make it they took a part of the cow, which was the stomach, and they put the milk in it to harden it, to make it into a cheese, and that's the issue. So some of the poskim are saying this is
like cooking.
Chalav. Yes, you mix meat and milk. That's the issue. Others are saying that the type of
that it's not basar v'chalav because it's cold.
Yeah, and
it doesn't go through you don't boil the milk in the stomach of the non-kosher animal.
Right, and the other issue is it kevat nevela? It wasn't nishchat properly, and that's the issue. And also we add things on to make it into cheese. It doesn't just become cheese by itself. And that's the issue. Are people adding things chemically induced or otherwise that make it into cheese? And that's the issue.
Because in order to make the milk from liquid to something that is more solid, so you either do it like in the days of the Gemara naturally by using the enzyme from the stomach of the animal, or today in a lab where you add on the I don't know what kind of
enzymes, but it could also be non-kosher.
That could be not kosher in order to harden the cheese.
So cheese is complicated. You have to check. You have to make sure that it's kosher if you eat it, right? And what is
and that all the ingredients are kosher.
Yeah.
So already in the Gemara we have the Tosfot, and the Tosfot are talking about the people on Narvona, and they have a custom of making cheese not in the stomach of a cow, not in the stomach of an animal,
Completely vegetarian.
within flowers. This is how they would make their cheese. It sounds amazing to me. So their cheese is completely vegetarian.
Right.
And then the Tosfot is asking, are the people of Navona that are eating that cheese that non-Jews have made it, but it's completely vegetarian because they put it in flowers? Is it allowed? And this is the custom, this is the minhag that they are used to eat it. So also the Shulchan Aruch is referring to that. גבינות האקום אסורים, בגלל שמעמידים אותם באור כבת שחיטתם שהיא נבלה. So you're not allowed to eat the cheese that you put in the stomach of the animal, and the animal is a not kosher animal. אפילו העמידה בעשבים אסורה. And even if you're
made a vegetarian,
then it's not allowed.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's more complicated, and on Gvina you need to check and you need to see exactly what are the ingredients. Even if today you don't put it in a stomach of an animal, but still there are ingredients that they're adding into the process of making the milk into cheese that might be not kosher, so you have to check it.
Go check your milk, and maybe you should check when you have coffee with Chabadnikim. Shavua tov.
Shavua tov.